doing some research last night to put things in context, and then we'll start the discussion about the different issues that can contribute to economy diversification through ICT and innovations. First, my name is Adnan Abudaya. I'm the Executive Director of the QU Wireless Innovation Center. So this is a new entity that was established last year to focus on using emerging wireless and telecom technologies to create new application services and to play really in the innovation space by filling the gap that exists today between research and market needs. So the objectives of the session, so I think after the discussion, I think we have about 2 hours for discussing really what are the issues, inhibitors, talking about examples from different countries in the role of ICT and innovation in enabling diversification. At the end, we have about 45 minutes to summarize our thoughts and put together recommendations or observations that we'll share them with the whole team. So each group will have the same kind of mandate. When we talk about ICT and innovation, I think we can talk about three different things. We can talk about the role of ICT in enabling diversification. We can talk about the role of innovations on its own in enabling diversification, and we can talk about ICT innovations in enabling diversification. So we are not really limited to ICT and innovations. So we can talk about the role of innovations on its own in economy diversification. Okay.
ICT comma.
Yeah, so it's, I got some clarity. I mean,
it's all about the punctuation.
Yeah. So I was not sure, are we supposed to be talking about ICT and innovations in ICT, or are we talking about innovations in general and ICT can be an element of that?
ICT came first, so.
So the key objectives of this session really are to discuss the role that ICT and innovations can play in realizing economy diversification in the GCC countries. What is needed for ICT and innovations to play such a role? I mean, when we talk about innovations, what do we mean by innovations? When we talk about ICT, do we look at ICT as a sector or as an enabler? We need to discuss examples of successes and failures. I mean, this is, I hope all of you will contribute to this discussion. I'm here a facilitator, so I'm not, many of you know more about this than I do. So I would like really for you to contribute in discussing examples, what worked, what doesn't work, especially from other countries. And we need to talk about the role of R&D investment, because innovation and R&D are really closely tied. So it's the key things it enables: competitiveness, productivity, and in a recent study, I think, which is I think a global statistic, money spent on computing technology deliver gains in worker productivity that are 3 to 5 times those of other investments. So any investment in ICT can deliver 3 to 4 times the productivity that you can get from any other investment, which is, I think, globally this is realized. I think the vision and the role of ICT and the role of innovation is pretty much probably well understood at a strategic level, but really when it comes to execution, how do we do it and how do we make the most out of it? On the other hand, you can talk about innovation and the role of innovation in diversification. And then we need to talk about what does innovation mean, what are the, are we set up to be an innovative society? What are the attributes of an innovative society? Especially, okay. So I think these are, I prepared lots of notes, but we can discuss these as we go along in the discussion. And probably, I'd like to probably start with the, again, we can focus on ICT first, and then we can switch to innovation by itself. Then we can talk about combination of ICT and innovations. So when we talk about ICT, as I said, we can look at it from ICT as a sector, which means to create an ICT industry in the telecom, in the software, in the computing space. And we can look at ICT as an enabler, which means ICT is used in all sectors that we are interested in, from environment, oil and gas, transportation, utilities, and everything else. So I think the first question one may ask, if you look at the ICT as an enabler, do we have the right ICT infrastructure in Qatar and the region? Do we have the right...
We have an awareness campaign. If we speak of SMEs, small and medium enterprises, if we speak of Qatarization, which is an important issue, if we think of change of culture, as the Secretariat guy spoke of how we can change culture from being completely petrol dominated to another activity. If we speak of the change of economic options, choices, and also if we speak of the engagement of the private sector, how can we engage the private sector? And if we speak of the new roles for the NGOs in the economy, then we will discover that human resources, some sort of capacity building and skills is necessary in all these aspects. Do we embark on capacity building and skills development first, or shall we have a simultaneous campaign for skills development together with a movement towards diversification? So if we tackle it in this way, I think we'll be able to link between the human capacity we need and the new role of the private sector, the NGOs, and in fact the whole people of the society, especially the national, in the new trend towards diversification. And unless we have the mindsets of people going in this direction, we will not be. It will be a decision, top decision, and not. The other one is the culture change. SMEs. Because SMEs directly involve the bulk of the people who are investors and investors. And involving your office, a lot of them private service. Most of them will prefer to go to SMEs instead of going to a huge business area, for example, which involve a lot of.
And it's you look at it from either end.
Okay. Any other captions? That's a very good list. I think we can start with that, and I can peg to this one what we were discussing in the labor market strategy. 5 years.